In the heart of bustling Lagos, a young couple, Gbenga and Iyabo, lived in a modern apartment. Their lives were mapped out with precision, rising early, tackling corporate responsibilities, returning late, and squeezing in precious moments with their only son, Moriire, who is only 5 years. To help with the boy's care, they hired Adunni, a middle-aged woman, as their live-in nanny. She was a stout woman with a stern face, seemingly dependable, the kind of face that often stays invisible in the background. For the first few months, things appeared to be running smoothly. Moriire was elderly, quiet and obedient, never causing trouble. But beneath the polished veneer, dark whispers echoed within the apartment walls. Adunni's voice sliced through the morning air like a whip.
Come here, you useless child.
She spat as he stumbled into the living room, rubbing his sleepy eyes.
Good morning, Auntie.
He mumbled, casting a shy smile, only to have it snatched away by her glare.
Did I ask for your good morning? How many times do I have to tell you? When I call, you answer and you run. Do you understand me?
Moriire nodded silently. The door clicked open, and Iyabo's heels echoed down the stairs.
Moriire, my darling, come peck mommy before I leave.
Adunni's face transformed instantly. She released Moriire, smoothing her apron with a smile as wide as the sky.
Ah, madam, your boy was just finishing his breakfast. I told him to hurry, so he wouldn't be late for school, ma.
Moriire looked up, pain flickering in his eyes, hoping to catch his mother's attention. But Iyabo was already scrolling through emails on her phone, barely glancing up as she leaned down for a peck.
Be a good boy for Auntie Adunni, okay? Mommy has a big presentation today,
she said, ruffling his head absent-mindedly. He nodded, biting his lip as his mother strode out the door, waving over her shoulder.
I'll see you tonight, baby. Auntie, thank you again, oh, thank you so much. We don't know what we would have done without you.
Adunni smiled sweetly.
It's my pleasure, madam. He's just like my own child too.
The door shut, leaving Moriire alone with her. 2 years passed, in much the same manner. Moriire was now 7, a quiet, withdrawn boy, with shadows under his eyes that no one seemed to notice. His teacher had called twice to discuss his sleeping grades, but Iyabo and Gbenga were often out on business trips or back-to-back meetings, and their days dissolved into exhaustion before they could follow up. One evening, however, Moriire finally managed to muster the courage to speak up.
Daddy.
His voice trembled as he approached his father, who sat on the couch working on his laptop. Gbenga still working on his laptop, but distracted.
Yes, son.
Auntie Adunni, she's not very nice to me. She's always...
But before he could finish, Gbenga's phone rang.
Hold on, Moriire, I'm coming.
He answered the call, nodding and speaking in low tones, his fingers tapping rapidly on the keyboard. When the call ended, he glanced at Moriire and said,
Listen, Buddy, it's bedtime now, as you can see. Whatever it is, tell me in the morning, okay?
Moriire's shoulders slumped. He looked worried as he nodded.
Okay, Daddy.
As he climbed the stairs, he could hear Adunni's voice from the kitchen. Her laughter, cutting through the hair like the jagged edge of a broken glass. The abuse continued, hidden in plain sight. Adunni would snatch his food away, feeding him junk while claiming he was picky when Iyabo or Gbenga noticed his tiny frame. She would twist his ears or slap him when he fumbled a chore, leaving marks hidden beneath his uniform. And whenever he dared to protest, her voice would lower into a sinister whisper.
If you tell them anything at all, I would tell them you were lying. What do you think they would believe? A small boy who is always making trouble.
The threat silenced him, and he bore it all in miserable silence. One rainy afternoon, Moriire finally broke down at school. His teacher, Miss Bola, found him hunched over his desk, tears streaming down his cheeks.
What's wrong, Moriire?
She asked softly, sitting beside him. He wiped his face quickly, shaking his head.
Nothing, ma. I'm fine.
But Miss Bola saw the desperation in his eyes, and her heart broke for him. She suspected something was deeply wrong at home, but she couldn't quite put her finger on it. She decided to call his parents, arranging a meeting for the following week. Gbenga and Iyabo finally made time to meet with Miss Bola. During their meeting, the teacher delicately shared her concerns about Moriire's withdrawn behavior and declining grades, and though they listened, they seemed almost impatient to return to their work. After the meeting, Gbenga sighed.
It's probably just a phase, you know? Kids get like this, don't they?
He looked over at Iyabo for confirmation. She nodded, pulling out her phone.
Yes, you will be fine. I will just ask Auntie Adunni to give him more attention. Thank you so much, Auntie.
But as the weeks passed, the gap between Moriire and his parents widened further. Moriire felt invisible, his cries for help echoing into silence. One rainy night, Moriire lay in bed, unable to sleep. He was bruised and sore from Adunni's rough handling earlier in the day when she had scolded him for spilling water on the floor. Moriire had tried to apologize, but Adunni's patience snapped. He stared up at the ceiling, swallowing back tears.
Maybe if I just disappear, they will finally notice me.
That night, Moriire lay alone on the cold balcony. The bitter sting of Adunni's torture weakened his body.
Worthless little pests! Where are you all?
Adunni called out for Moriire, checking all the rooms. She finally saw him on the balcony.
Oh, there you are, little pest. So you didn't hear me call you all this while?
Moriire kept quiet, shivering on the couch.
Are you deaf? It seems you want to pass the night here. It's even good. Good. Maybe the cold will knock some sense into you before your parents come back from their office trip.
She eased and locked the balcony door behind him, leaving him exposed to the pouring rain. His small body shivered uncontrollably as he tried to keep himself warm, pulling his knees to his chest and covering himself with a thin blanket he had grabbed on his way out. Hours passed, and the rain showed no sign of stopping. Moriire felt weaker and weaker, his breath growing shallow. The dark sky loomed above him, indifferent to his suffering. He thought of his parents, their gentle smiles, their hugs, and how they never stayed long enough to listen to him. With a heart that felt too heavy for his small body, he whispered his last, desperate wish.
Maybe one day they will see me. Just not now.
The following morning, Adunni went to the balcony. She banged on the glass door, expecting him to jump to his feet, but he remained still, a pale, until fragile figure, crumpled on the wet floor. Panic gripped her. Her heart hammered as she unlocked the door and crouched beside him.
Wake up, little brat. I told you Adunni, what have you done? Hey.
Her words died in her throat as she realized he was gone. His small chest still, his lips tinted blue from the night's relentless cold. The weight of her actions crashed over her. She scrambled back, her mind racing with dread. In a moment of terror-fueled clarity, she understood that she couldn't stay. She had to run and disappear before they found him like this. In a frenzy, she gathered her things, heart pounding as they replayed Moriire's lifeless face in her mind. She left the house without a word, blending into the early morning crowds of Lagos as she vanished, leaving Moriire behind to be found by his parents. That evening, when Gbenga and Iyabo returned home from their 4-day office trip, they were confused by the empty silence. The house felt unnaturally quiet without Adunni bustling about or Moriire's soft footsteps.
Where is Adunni? She didn't even call us today.
Iyabo muttered, setting down her bags. Gbenga shrugged, calling out,
Moriire, darling, we are home.
There was no response. Suddenly, Iyabo noticed the balcony door ajar and froze, a deep unease twisting in her stomach.
Gbenga, look.
He followed her gaze, his face paling as he saw the small steel form curled up outside. They ran to the balcony, barely able to process what they were seeing.
No.
Iyabo screamed, dropping to her knees beside Moriire's lifeless body, clutching him to her chest.
Moriire, my love, please, wake up. Oh God, please.
Gbenga staggered back, his face ashen as she covered his mouth. Disbelief edged across his features. He looked around the house frantically, as if hoping to find Adunni and make sense of the nightmare unfolding in front of him. But she was gone. Only Moriire remained, cold and silent. Through sobs, Iyabo whispered to her son, her voice cracking.
Moriire, why, my baby, why?
And then she remembered the times he had come to her, his little voice so soft, and how she had brushed him off, always too busy, too distracted. The memory hit her like a blow.
Oh God, I should have listened.
She broke down, holding Moriire closer as Gbenga joined her, unable to speak, guilt and regret consuming them both. A crumpled note lay near Moriire's hand, smeared with rain but still legible. Gbenga picked it up, his hands trembling as he read the heartbreaking words.
I tried to tell you, but you never listened to me. Moriire.
Later that night, they sat alone in the silent house, haunted by memories and regrets. They learned that Adunni had fled and was nowhere to be found. The police searched, but Lagos swallowed people whole, and she was never caught. In the weeks that followed, Iyabo and Gbenga couldn't escape the guilt gnawing at them. Moriire's quiet cries for help echoed in their minds, haunting them as they tried to make sense of his tragic end. They had built their lives around work, missing the one thing that mattered most. They vowed to change, but nothing could bring their son back. Their lives continued, but with a void that could never be filled. Every time it rained, they remembered Moriire's last night, alone in the cold, waiting for someone to hear him.
Hello, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the story, kindly give it a big thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe if you have not subscribed. And remember to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our amazing stories. Also, if you enjoy it, share it. Do not enjoy it alone and leave a comment. Until next time, bye.